Hello friends, today we will discuss about the anti-slam and anti-pumping relay contacts in the closing circuit of circuit breaker. So we will discuss in detail what is the purpose of using the anti-slam and anti-pumping relay and how anti-slam contact and anti-pumping relay work in the closing circuit of circuit breaker. So let's start with the anti-slam contact. Anti-slam contact is nothing just a simple normally closed auxiliary contact of that circuit breaker whose coil we want to protect. So we put normally closed. Here you can see 52B contact in series of the closing coil. If the circuit breaker is normally open, it will only throw the supply because it is normally closed contact during the circuit breaker is open. So once the circuit breaker open, we can give the supply to the closing command. Once we give supply to the closing command, the circuit breaker will close and this 52B will be open and prevent our coil to damage. If due to any reason this push button or the BCU contact F1 latch, so the supply, if this we did not put the anti-slam contact, the supply will remain on the closing coil and can damage our closing coil. So to protect our closing coil, we put this anti-slam contact in between the closing circuit, so to protect our closing coil. But what is the purpose of anti-pumping relay? Why we use anti-pumping relay? What happen if we give close command to the circuit breaker and circuit breaker is tripped due to any protection or any fault? So the tripping coil, if the lockout relay is operated, the tripping coil will be available on tripping circuit and the circuit breaker tripped. So this 52B will be normally closed again because circuit breaker is not closed and it's tripped due to any protection. So what happened if the someone is giving command, a push button is latched or BCU contact is latched? So here the positive supply available in case. So then what will happen? The circuit breaker will be tripped due to protection and again close because supply is available, because 52 is now normally closed. So in that case the circuit breaker will damage due to opening and closing command both available on circuit breaker. So SF6 gas will have no time to rebuild and the circuit breaker can damage. So to prevent this issue, we use the anti-pumping relay. How anti-pumping relay works? We take the supply from this point and give to anti-pumping relay, but we have to operate anti-pumping relay once we give command to the circuit breaker. First command give to the coil and then it protects to go command to the circuit breaker again and again. How it works? We use the limit switch from the spring. Sometimes we can use also the contact of circuit breaker auxiliary contact, but here we use the spring status limit switch LS3 contact. The LS3 contact normally when the circuit breaker is open, the LS3 contact 3-4 we use for the anti-pumping and LS3 1-2 contact for the protect the closing coil also. So LS3 3-4 contact, when the spring is discharged it close, and when spring is charged it becomes normally open. So when circuit breaker is normally open, so the spring is fully charged, this relay contact 3-4 will be open. So what we need, once the spring is discharged, this should be normally closed, 3-4 contact of LS3. So once we give command to the circuit breaker, the spring becomes discharged. So first command go to circuit breaker coil and then at the same moment once the spring is discharged, the LS3 contact 3-4 will be closed and give supply to the anti-pumping relay. And for the holding we use YA contact of the anti-pumping relay. The relay will be hold and put the anti-pumping relay of YB normally closed contact in the closing circuit. So once the anti-pumping relay is activated, so it will cut the supply to the closing coil due to any tripping case, this will protect our closing coil. So hope you understand about the anti-slam and anti-pumping relay in details. So 52B is the anti-slam contact and YB is the contact of anti-pumping relay. This is the common circuit of closing circuit of any circuit breakers. These anti-pumping and anti-slam relays are always used in the closing circuit of circuit breakers. You can check in your schemes. Thanks for watching Electrical in Industry.